Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Essays and Espresso podcast. I am joined by my cohorts, Acer. How are you?
I have the flu, so I'm fucking horrible, Daniel. I'll tell you what. I was coughing up blood the other day when I woke up.
I'm glad, though, that you cleaned yourself up for the podcast.
Of course.
A lot of dedication on your part.
Thank you. You guys should pay me some amount of money for being here.
I mean, more than we already do. I'll see what's in the budget.
You can have all the ad revenue of this week.
Yes!
And
It's
we are also
$0.
joined by Boken. How are you, Boken?
Hello, I'm fine. It's cold.
It is? Over there?
Yeah, we've had a week of solid snow, which I haven't seen in probably 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Miami, and I don't know if you guys know anything about Miami, but it's almost always tropical weather down here.
I only know Miami from Vice City.
There has been a Seinfeld episode about this, so I know about it.
I mean, based on what you've played on Vice City, it's not that far from that, minus like the crazy person going around running people over and shooting people.
Yes.
That doesn't happen in the US, no.
Not really.
Nah. You know, I read about the meme of Florida Man. Apparently Florida doesn't have like any crazier crime statistics or anything. It's just that there's some law in Florida where all of like criminal proceedings, they become accessible to journalists like immediately, whereas there's a delay period in other states, and so it's just there's just easier to get access to those files about crazy criminals, but they aren't any crazier in Florida. There's just more media transparency.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Not only that, but you also have to consider that while I live in South Florida, which is predominantly very Hispanic, the further north you go, the more culturally South it becomes. So it still makes a lot of sense why you would get like a lot of weird, crazy stories.
Yeah.
But anyways, before we get into the preamble, our topic for today, and this is something that we fucking argued about a lot, about what to fucking call this, but we finally settled on, is brand expansion harmful?
See, I only pretended to have accepted that name. I'm going to use this time in the podcast to argue that Multimedia Madness is a better name.
I wanted to call it the ramifications of brand expansion, but these two are like, this is not us. Like, what the fuck? It makes sense, but whatever. You guys want to lower your standards. You know, you just want to bring the podcast down for with lowbrow content. Okay, whatever.
You know, Daniel, I know you're talking, but you're not saying anything.
I feel like YouTube, the age of YouTube where people need to have smart sounding headlines is over. Now it's just straight from the cup, you know.
Yes. No, I reject this.
He rejects your hypothesis, Bogan.
I love using big dumb words. Shut up. Fuck you. Anyways, Acer, you've done things recently. What are these things that you've done? Who's Ollie? Who's Ollie? What's her farm? Is she one of those VTubers?
Bold of you to assume Ollie's gender, Daniel. Ollie is a man.
Cause see, I was thinking of the actual VTuber Ollie, who is a zombie
no one
idol.
Else is thinking of the actual VTuber.
See, Bogan, I think Bogan and dear listener, I think we need to cancel Daniel.
Yeah.
No, dude, you don't understand. I accidentally picked a fucking VTuber video once or twice.
Oh, of course.
Oh, and now it keeps popping up, and I keep clicking on them. Oh,
it's
no.
It's a flood. It's a fucking flood of these fucking videos all the time. All the time.
No,
I can't help it. I can't help it if sometimes I feel like watching it. There's,
Yeah, I get you. Ollie's Farm, it's a game in, I think it's in beta right now. You can access like a little demo. So it's like 5 minutes long, but I like it. It has like PlayStation 1 graphics, and I think they said it was styled on Silent Hill, the original, and I think it kind of comes through. It's basically, you're at a farm, Ollie's farm, and Ollie is a guy, Daniel, and he's like, oh no, oh my corn, can you help me find my corn? And
you know,
find
Ollie would have been better as a cute zombie idol girl. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, of course you say that. But you go and you find the corn, and then you get teleported into like this nightmare dimension. And the game doesn't have much content available to players, but just judging from what there is, I think this is cool. This is I put this in the folder where I put Don't Look at the Red Fridge in the basement, where this is like, this does not need to be crazy. This just hits a very particular niche for me.
Okay, so this is not a farming simulator.
No.
This is a horror game.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's like I said, 5 to 10 minutes long, depending on how good you are at video games. I'm the king of video games,
but
I'm
wait,
good.
how rad would that be though? If you just had this game with Silent Hill's aesthetic, but it's actually an unironic, straightforward farming simulator.
No.
That'd be kind of awesome.
No. I don't want that. I reject your hypothesis, Daniel.
Dude, every like farm simulation game is either cutesy like Harvest Moon, or it's
Stardew
just
Valley.
like or Stardew Valley, or it's just like your straightforward like realistic farming simulator. Why not a horror themed farming simulator?
Bogan talked before we started recording about we shouldn't have these endless tangents in our topics.
Yeah.
We
couldn't
fuck
even
what
make
Bogan
it 6 minutes.
No, but I want to
without the
note.
first one.
I want to note that it was Daniel who collapsed this, not me. I was very on point.
I'm sorry, the idea lodged itself into my brain modules, and that it had to release from my mouth. So, that's how it is.
I also played another game that's like a demo. And this one I think has a lot of potential, but it could also easily collapse completely. It's called What Lives Below. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
No.
It's Shadow of the Colossus, except you're on a boat and you're hunting sea monsters.
That sounds pretty cool.
That does sound pretty cool.
I'm gonna assume it does not play as well as Shadow of the Colossus.
No, this is a first-person game. It has some pretty basic Unity assets, it seems like. That's why I say...
How do you find these games?
I search for them. I find like weird games.
Just look for independent horror bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of it comes. I follow Alpha Beta Gamer on Twitter, and he or they. I'm not like Daniel. That they could be run by a girl, Daniel, but they tweet out every now and then like,
hey,
here's a game that's in open beta. Here's a game here's an indie game that's coming out. And they just try to give attention to them. And I'm like, oh, I'll play that. Because I've long since accepted that the AAA market is not for me anymore. So I need to get my kicks playing these weird experimental games.
Okay, I respect that.
But this one, I don't want to say negative things about it, because I genuinely believe there's a lot of potential with this. But it's the bland ass Unity assets, and it immediately becomes twice as good. It's also really like, you're like throwing harpoons at the monsters when they breach from the sea, but there's also like the monsters, they're designed well. But what I was gonna say is, it's really kind of relaxing, because you just have like a radar and you're out there in the crazy storms. But there's a really nice sort of mood to just looking at the radar and then finally seeing the monster crop up near some rocks that are breaching out of the ocean or something. So, I definitely want people to check this one out. What
that
Lives
actually
Below.
does sound... I don't know what it plays like, but that could be a really cool game.
Yeah!
Just what you're describing. You're out on the open sea and there's a storm all around you and you need to locate movement under the water.
Yeah,
Maybe there
and
are some
also
islands.
you're well, I don't know, but you're locked in the boat the whole time.
I would assume that this game has to cut costs if it's just a small indie project.
Yeah.
But if it was like scary Wind Waker with the sea monster combat, that would be cool.
That could be cool. I
I'd
also
be down for that.
I also played a game called Astalon: Tears of the Earth, and this is another one which I think I'm gonna keep a watch out. All three of these games I liked.
Can I just say that Astalon Tears of the Earth legit sounds like a CRPG that came out in like 1998?
Well, Daniel, so it's an 8-bit game, and the gimmick of it is there are a few things to note about it. So it's like a Metroidvania, and you keep rotating between 3 playable characters, and each one, like, not everyone, like, sometimes you have vines and you need somebody who can cut vines. Sometimes you have like weird magic block bubbles or whatever, and you need to shoot magic at them, and then you get the magic guy. Some things you need to climb over, and only the girl can climb because she's the lightest. And I also think she plays the best. But the first thing that happened when I played the game, it was like, select the way you want the visuals to look, because it's 8-bit pixel art. One of them was like super anti-alienized, and the other one was very clean 8-bit. But they recommended that you play it all sort of bloody smooth, because it was said in the box underneath, this is meant to simulate old TV monitors. So obviously I picked that. And a gimmick with the game that I really liked is that once you die, you basically have to restart the game over again. It's a Hades Metroidvania, Bogan. But when you die, the guy who resurrects you, he's like, okay, you died. What do you want to buy? And I really like that. There's no store that I could find in-game. I just had to die all over again, all the time to get some upgrades. And I played that for like 30 minutes. Until I had to do this damn podcast with you.
It looks like it's going to be released on Steam in the second quarter of this year.
Yeah, I think it's very close to... that's very possible. It seemed very close to completion.
I mean, I'm looking at the Steam page right now.
Oh.
And I'm looking at some footage. It looks really good. I think I'm gonna add this to my wish list. Wait for it to go on sale.
Well, you don't want to buy it full priced? You don't want to support the... I say as I played this for free?
I've made it a rule that I only buy games on Steam if they're on sale.
Oh. So you only buy games on Steam every time. They're always on sale. So those are Acer's weird indie games for this episode. I also watched a movie, Bogan. You know I like my Asian horror movies. First of all...
Especially with ghosts in them.
I like ghosts. You know what movie had ghosts? Reincarnation. I was gonna talk about it, but it was kind of crap, so I cut it. But I watched Jigoku. And the premise of the movie is a man goes to hell, and he experiences all the dispersed tortures and hells of the Buddhist hell scrolls. And it's like, it has like a cult following, and it's so fucking boring, because there's an hour of just characters interacting with each other, and they're like building up into how each one had specific sins which correlate to them. And it's like, well, then they go into this hell, and you get to see the ramifications of their behaviors. And I was like, fuck
You're
this.
like, where are the ghosts?
Yeah, that's exactly how I was.
Fuck this character drama.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Give me the fucking ghosts.
Be smart?
Where are the scary visuals, y'all? But the reason there's merit to my argument here, not just because subtext is for losers, but also because Jigoku was largely the inspiration behind the Old Hunters DLC for Bloodborne. So there's a lot of visuals which get repeated from when they finally go to hell, which are repeated in the DLC. So I really like that.
So what you're saying is
what
Bloodborne.
is the argument?
What is the argument?
Why does that give your argument merit?
Because I only watched it for the visuals.
Oh, okay. So you're
And I was
ignorant.
given this boring story about characters that are killing each other and then they're sleeping with the spouses of the people they killed, and it's just like, get to the drama. I want to see a spooky ghost. And I didn't get him.
So what you're saying is Bloodborne assimilated Jigoku and took what was good about it.
Yes.
Which therefore makes Bloodborne better than Jigoku.
Why are you giving him the credit that the character drama is actually bad when it's ASAT saying this? This movie is probably awesome. And he's just a dumbass.
Maybe, but I like the idea of propping Bloodborne up.
Yeah. Also, the movie ends with the guy, he's like running around. Can I spoil this movie? It's
Sure.
70 years old or something.
I personally don't care, but I mean, I don't know.
Spoiler alerts, everyone. Daniel will put in a timestamp for you to jump to.
No, that'd be Boken. That's his job.
Bogan will do it. The movie's third act, when he's in hell, he's running around like through the hells, searching for his child, and it's just like Bloodborne, where the entire the thrust of the narrative is he's trying to silence a child's crying. And where he gets to hell, there's like this beach area, and it's literally the fishing hamlet. There's so much of it. So that was fun, but I wish I didn't have to watch this movie about characters. And finally, Daniel, do you see what's on my list?
I have been eyeing it, yes.
So, War in the Pocket. People know about the Gundam incident.
So, it's funny because there was a comment and someone was like, why is Daniel so surprised? You know, this is like a classic Acer move. I want to make this clear, right? The reason why I was upset wasn't just that you lied about watching it. It's that it's 6 fucking episodes. Like you couldn't like be asked enough to watch 6 episodes. Like if I had asked you to watch something that was like 30, 40 episodes or something, I can understand being like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I didn't watch it actually or whatever. Like fine, whatever. But this is 6 fucking episodes.
Yeah. And by all accounts, it seemed so up my alley, didn't it? But
I mean, I think it's a genuinely good story.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was gonna set aside time to watch it, but then, because I didn't, surprise, but I am going to. But I didn't do it this time because I decided I'd rather watch the new season of Family Guy.
Oh my fucking god!
There were a couple of good jokes in there. I don't know what to tell you.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
So you'd rather watch 20 episodes of Family Guy than 6 episodes of War in the Pocket?
No, I think there are only like 9 or 10 episodes that have come of Family Guy.
Great story.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
But like Family Guy, it's like a horribly poorly written show. Someone's slamming doors in my house. I hope that doesn't catch on to the recording. But I am gonna watch War in the Pocket as soon as the new season of Family Guy is in. No, sooner rather than later, I'm gonna watch it, Daniel. Don't worry. I'll watch it.
Okay. Well,
You realize he only brought this up and put this on the docket to make you more upset.
Well, Acer, I'm going to rewatch it along with you.
Oh.
So I'm gonna my questions are gonna be especially pointed.
Do you think?
So if you what?
Hypothetically, do you think I could lie my way through another one?
Probably not.
Because I had a good lie going for like a year.
I mean, I had totally fucking forgotten the whole event to begin with, like. So, I don't know, dude. I don't think it'll work this time.
Well, we'll see.
Anyways. Boken, you apparently have watched a bunch of horror films. What's up with that? Also, apparently you're a magic denier. It's interesting.
This is also true.
You're just gonna drop that without giving full context?
Someone, hint hint Acer, in the docket here gave us all these little titles next to our names. So I am Daniel, the lowly magician. Acer is the one undecided, while Boken is the magic denier. I feel that this is all in relation to Kara no Kyokai, which we recently did.
No, this is the essay topic was supposed to be, is magic real?
Then I wouldn't be the lowly magician because I'm like the biggest skeptic.
No, you have to defend. I'm the undecided one. Boken is the denier.
I'm a huge skeptic. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's my joke anyways.
I don't know. I think it's more likely that Boken would be the one that's like secretly performing blood rituals in his backyard.
Sure, but then I would still deny it.
Blood dripping from your chin. You're like, it's not what you think. Just believe me, guys. Anyways, you've watched some horror movies.
Yes, I've only watched horror movies because I've been playing World of Warcraft the entire time and leveling a new character, which means I have a lot of extra brain space to put into doing something else on the second monitor.
But watching a show or movie while playing a video game, how can you, Bogan? We don't stand for that on this podcast. We shame people who do that.
I specifically picked only garbage. Specifically. Like, you think when you watch a movie called Escape Room, you need to pay attention to what's happening? No.
Nah.
No, unless it was David Fincher's Panic Room.
Well, yes.
Even though that's one,
I wouldn't watch
even
that.
though that's one of his lesser films, I'd still pay attention because he's a great director.
Sure, I wouldn't watch that on the side.
I would.
But yeah, it's whatever. I can go through these relatively quickly, and none of them are worth watching. Escape Room is by Sony. It's fucking trash. I mean, Escape Room tells you everything you need to know. It's about an escape room, and
I imagine there are teenagers.
Dangerous.
Are there teenagers?
No, it's a varied group of people.
Oh.
And they all get an invitation to come to the escape room, and then it's so fucking dumb. It's like they're in some giant skyscraper in the middle of the city, I think. And then it starts out with the first room, with the lounge basically, and the room just heats up, and they need to activate certain switches that are hidden around the room to get out. And so the first one is already questionable. Like, how would you heat a room to the degree where the people in it would just completely burn up and die? Not to mention when they make it out of the room, like there's just straight up flames coming out of the wall and the ceiling.
Mm.
And then they go through the chutes, the safety chutes, and they come out in a room with a force field that they can't get out of, and it's also super cold, and there's a frozen lake and like walls made out of stone, and this is somehow taking place within that skyscraper. I don't know. And this is like the level that this movie's operating on. So it's just a bunch of bullshit, and it's apparently rich people orchestrating the whole thing, and they just want to watch, I don't know, people go through the escape room. I don't know. They're legitimately in a skyscraper, and suddenly they're in a room where they're freezing, and there's a frozen lake that one of them falls into.
Do you think it's possible that the reason you're having such a hard time getting it is because you didn't get it because you were playing World of Warcraft
No.
while watching it?
Because that would mean that this movie is in any way complex, which it's not. And also what sucks is that it's, what is it, PG-12 or whatever that's called in the US?
Oh, God.
So there isn't even any blood. It fucking sucks. It's a garbage movie for little kids. And
It sounds pretty awful.
yeah. I saw a review of this somewhere, and then I was like, hey, I got nothing else to do. Let's watch Escape Room. But by the way, the funniest thing at the end being that the police are then investigating, like the two of them escape, and the police are then investigating what the two survivors are saying, and they're investigating this building or whatever. And somehow the police waited a whole day to even go there. It is not explained why. And then somehow the rich people got all that shit out of the building already. So there's no trace of it left. So,
this movie sounds like Kaiji, Ultimate Survivor to me.
Kaiji? Isn't that an anime?
Kaiji's... Yeah, it's an anime. It's fucking great, though. Like, genuinely great.
It's like, Kaiji is like Yu-Gi-Oh! For nerds.
No, it's not. Fuck you. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! At all.
Isn't that a gambling anime?
Yes, it's about gambling.
It's a lot like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Because
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Because
No.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like gambling.
No, because original Yu-Gi-Oh! Was all about, like, he did not have, like, a great deck. He was a great player because he managed to out-psych people. He, like, realized, holy crap, there's an exploit in your strategy, which I'm going to advance. And there used to be games where they were like, you're going to point a gun at me, well, I'm going to cover you in lighter fluid, and I'm going to put a lighter on your hand. So if you shoot me, then you're going to burn up. And there's all these weird masochistic, like, BDSM fucking ass games that they all used to play. It's fucking great.
Okay, you're talking about, like, the prototype of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, before it became
even
about the card game.
Even after it became about the card game, it never... See, the original season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Never lost that sort of sadistic psychology of play element to it. It's only when you get into GX and 5Ds that it's just about card games. So
Anyways, Kaiji's really good, like, unironically.
So I don't
Really
understand why this is like Kaiji, but okay.
because there's like rich people playing games with people.
Oh, well.
Yes, that's... Yeah, a big thing about Kaiji is, like, rich people put poor people through these really horrible, fucking crazy situations, and it's like life or death, literally. Like, it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they're playing card games. It's usually like these
There's life and death in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Shut up. Like there's I remember there's one series of episodes where, like, these characters had to walk a beam from one building to another, and they had no foothold and nothing to grab onto except just the board, and people did fall and just died.
Yeah, and it was also electrocuted, and they all had rubber soles. So if you want to use your hands to steady yourself, you're gonna get shocked and you're gonna collapse.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh man, that was so fucked up.
Yeah, and Kaiji is the protagonist. He's not a good player. He's just the ultimate survivor. He will break the game mentally in order to survive it.
See,
And
that's
that
funny
whole show
because in Escape Room, the twist, well, I don't know if it's a twist, but the people that have been gathered there are all survivors of some sort. Like they were in plane crashes, or they survived an illness. And the rich people, as it is explained, wanted to see who would be the ultimate survivor. who of the survivors survives. And it's really dumb.
And you said it wasn't like Kaiji Ultimate Survivor, Daniel. Sounds exactly like it.
But Kaiji's good.
You don't know if this is bad.
No, this is bad.
Oh. We should do an extravaganza on Kaiji, maybe.
Maybe that should be my next recommendation to watch Kaiji. I wouldn't mind rewatching it. That's such a good show.
So then I also watched Jigsaw, which is, I think, the 8th Saw movie.
I
I wanna say-
No, isn't it? It's the 9th. Because they did a Saw reboot that was like Saws or something. No, this is the 8th. This is the... Yeah, they did 6 Saw movies, then Saw 3D, which concluded the 7 movies.
Yeah.
Then this, and then Spiral, didn't they?
Spiral?
Yeah.
The fuck is Spiral?
I think Spiral is a continuation of it.
So, okay, I'm looking at it now. So there's Saw 1 through 6, and then there's Saw 3D, and then there's Jigsaw, and then there's Spiral.
Yeah.
Is Spiral out?
No, it's coming out in May 21st.
Okay. I feel like I would know if this was out.
Spiral is also the sequel to Ringu, the book.
Yes, this is true.
Have you guys watched Saw?
Yeah.
Any of the Saw
No.
movies?
I've seen the
No.
original 7.
Okay, well, I only watched the first one, but I've seen a lot of videos about the series, and I
See,
also
I
watched this
maintain
now.
that the first one, it's not well made or anything, but that's like an okay movie.
Yeah, it's okay.
Carrie
then-
Elways.
And then
I love Carrie Ellis.
the whole franchise just devolves into
Yeah.
bullshit retcons trying to explain why Jigsaw is still alive.
There's a mythos. Don't you get it? There's a mythos. I don't want... Like, this is the original cinematic universe, I feel. I feel like.
But it's so like
Hmm?
they let Jigsaw die in the 3rd or 4th movie, and
Yes,
then
both of them.
because
They
he's
happen at
the
the same
only
time.
actor who's worth a shit, they have to
Tobin Bell?
come up with
Yeah.
new reasons to bring him back, so they have more and more flashbacks. And guess what fucking happens in this dumbass movie?
Oh, what happens?
Well, as it turns out, I mean, spoilers, but so okay, so in this movie, there is basically a game going on. You watch 2 different parts of the story. One is the game going on with people trying to escape the traps, and then at the same time, there is a group of police people finding the corpses from the game and then starting their investigation, right? So and then it turns out some of the police people might be involved with the game and so on, and that is basically the story structure. But the twist at the end is that the game you've been watching actually happened a year ago, and one of the survivors from that game, which the viewer doesn't see, is repeating the game in the present, and those are the corpses that the police are finding. And so they can then show at the end the survivor of the original game that is being repeated meeting Tobin Bell. So they can have Tobin Bell in the movie and, have him do his voiceovers and shit.
Isn't he like 1,000,000 years old now?
He is pretty old, yeah. But that is the dumbest reason why they needed to do this, I guess. And it makes absolutely no sense. Like, I don't know who the fuck the guy who is doing the game in the present is actually trying to trick, or why he is doing this. I think his reasoning is he's been working with Jigsaw ever since. So he's the original Jigsaw helper. Like, this happened before. The game that isn't being shown, that is being repeated now, basically happened before Saw 1.
Okay.
And
So, but wait a minute. Saw 7 concluded with all the Jigsaw wannabes being killed by Cary Elwes, who proved to be the ultimate Jigsaw successor. Is he in this movie?
No, he isn't.
Oh, of course not.
Doesn't it turn out in Saw 7 that Cary Elwes always has been, like Dr. Gordon has always been helping, right?
No,
From the
he
first
only
movie.
began. Yeah, he began because he was crawling on the way out of the bathroom in the first movie.
Yeah.
Assumably, Jigsaw met him on the way out, and he was like, "I'll save you, but you have to become evil."
Yeah, but that's one of
And he
those
did.
retcons where they go, actually he has been helping from the beginning.
No, that's not a retcon, because there are moments that they set that up in like movie 2 where there's like footage of a man who's like sewing a key behind a guy's eye, and the guy is clearly limping on one leg because he's missing a leg, and it's the one where Dr. Gordon was missing. There's like a lot of clues throughout the original 7 movies that Cary Elwes is a bad guy. Those movies are horrible fucking garbage. But like that was the one thing they did right. They actually built that twist up.
Okay. Well, it's not the only time they did that twist. So many people have been helping Jigsaw.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so now we have another guy who has been helping Jigsaw from even before the first movie.
Okay.
And it makes no sense. The corpses that the police are finding look like the exact same people that we see dying in the original game. Sorry, we are seeing the original game that happened a year ago. We are not seeing the present game where the corpses are coming from. That is the story structure. I think I said that wrong. But it makes no sense. Like, if you're just repeating the game that happened a year ago, why is everything turning out the exact same way it did a year ago? Like, the exact same types of people are dying in the exact same types of traps, even though they're different people. It makes no sense. And then, like, one of the traps is basically one of the girls in the group is supposed to kill herself with some poisonous injection, and she doesn't want to, so one of the other people in the group basically forces her at the end and just rams the syringe into her jaw, and that's what she dies from. But that is the original game from a year ago, and then the corpse the police finds in the present from the current game also looks the exact same way. It's supposedly a different woman, but she has the exact same wounds of that poison and that injection. And why? Like, did the exact same thing happen with different characters? It's so dumb. It makes no fucking sense.
Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson are starring in Spiral.
Okay.
Good
Those are
for them.
classically.
Can we move on from Saw, please? Please.
I feel like this franchise can be very funny if you're.
I want
If
to
you
know,
like trash.
Logan. You have at this point taken longer with your 2 movies than I did for my 5 topics.
See, that was my trick. To get you to just wrap your shit up so I can talk about this trash.
You
Damn.
motherfucker.
Okay, well then let's just talk about Alien vs. Predator because I watched that.
Yeah,
And-
I watched the first one once.
That has
I thought it was
actually been
okay.
painful to sit through. Like, Escape Room was dumb, but watchable. Jigsaw was dumb, but at least it had fun gore. Alien vs. Predator is... and then also the sequel, Requiem. That is a worthless fucking movie.
I felt Alien vs. Predator was okay when I watched it as like an 8-year-old kid or however old I was.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that is just fine. You watch it and you forget it. And there's like one somewhat nice aspect to it where the main character basically befriends a predator, and the predator kind of gains some respect for her as one of their own, or like a hunting partner or whatever.
Yeah.
But the problem with these movies is the structure is exactly the same all the time. Like, how many times can you repeat a scene where an alien is hunting a human, and then the predator is hunting the alien, and then people die? because that is both of those movies just back to back, and nothing advances, nothing happens except that kind of scene.
Do these movies need human beings in them? Wouldn't it
Well,
be
you
cooler
wouldn't
if it's just
have
like
you wouldn't have no one talking otherwise.
so? You think I want to watch people talk? I'm just in it for the early 2000s slow-mo action scene, Spoken.
See, my problem is that when I watched the original Alien, which wasn't too long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, and I was I kind of know about the how the alien works, right? With but it was nice to see in that movie just the structure of first the face hugger comes at you, or you get injected, then the thing bursts out of your chest, and then it turns into an alien. This whole what Alien is about. And that was cool for the first movie. I guess the second movie with the Queen added little bit to the whole alien mythology or the biology of it. But ever since then, Alien just keeps on repeating these scenes with the face huggers and the chest bursting. And that's all there is to it. And I guess Predator too. Like Predator, the original movie, has a lot of nice details of how the Predator functions, what the Predators do, and what their technology does, and so on.
Yeah.
But then these
they
movies
never
are just
on it.
You don't need to expand on it. And well, yeah, they don't expand on it, so it's just repeated scenes of what we already know. How many scenes of aliens bursting out of people's chests do I need to see?
It's like what we talked about with Star Wars, where it's like every Jedi needs a lightsaber. Why? Because in the original movies they had lightsabers, so everyone has to have a lightsaber. Like, why does every Predator have the camo? Like, they're this proud warrior culture. Surely some of them would be like, you know what? This camo shit, that's what you do when you're a proud warrior.
But that's
right?
That's the Predators.
Did you ever watch Predators with Adrian Brody?
No.
They
Predators?
Fight like, yeah.
That's the second
that's
one,
not that's not Predator 2, right?
No, that's not Predator 2. That's like they were trying to remake it or something. So a bunch of humans, a bunch of mercenaries
get
like
Predator.
No, it's Predators.
Yeah.
A bunch of mercenaries get abducted to like the Predator homeworld, and in the end, there's like predators fighting super mutated predators, and there's like they're like a weird mix of like cannibalistic like Native American tribe monster sociopaths and like this highly advanced like alien civilization, and it's like, man, this is not a good movie, but this is like it does something with this mythos that the other Predators movies just don't.
At least these Alien versus Predator movies. I don't know who likes this shit. Like, it feels like fan service, but not fan service that's worth anyone's time.
Fan service for what fans? What fans are they servicing?
Well, it's supposedly for fans of Aliens and the Predators, but why do I need to watch these alien creatures go through the motions? These are not good movies.
I think the plot of Alien vs. Predator was inspired by like, I think there's a cameo by like the head of an alien in one of the Predator movies, and people were like, what if they would fight? And then 10 years later they did it. And then they did Freddy vs. Jason on the back of this.
Well, what plot? There's no plot.
See, that's the thing, that these like this versus this always feels like these were just random comic books. Like this is just a random comic book that just got made just because the artist thought it'd be cool to draw.
Would it surprise you guys to hear that Batman v Superman had been in production since like 2004, very shortly after this movie came out?
What the fuck?
Would that surprise you guys to hear?
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I don't know how that works, but okay.
Because this movie is the reason we got Batman v Superman like 13 years later.
But then why did
this
we
movie
get
was-
Man of Steel before that to set up Batman vs Superman? Like, what do you produce when it's a sequel that is like coming out 13 years later?
No. The idea of a Batman fighting Superman, the original pitch was Christian Bale versus like Brandon Routh.
Okay. And at some
And
point
it's just
they
been-
just got other actors.
Yeah, like Man of Steel was not supposed to lead into Batman v Superman. But they were like, hey, we've spent a lot of money writing scripts for a potential Batman v Superman movie. Zack Snyder, you want to make a movie with Batman in it? How about a movie where Batman fights Superman? And Zack Snyder was like, I like it. Do you have 50 different scripts because you've had this project existing in some capacity for like 15 years? Yeah, we sure do. I think Kevin Smith was supposed to do it once. I think
No. Kevin Smith was gonna do that Death of Superman movie.
That's right. Who was gonna do it? It wasn't J.J. Abrams. It was someone else who was attached to it, whom I don't remember. But anyways,
I'm sure the idea of Batman vs Superman existed for a long time.
yeah. But as a movie,
Yeah,
like,
as
there's
a big movie, yes.
as a movie, there's like a hint to it in I Am Legend. You can see like a Batman v Superman poster because they were gonna make it back then. On the back of this,
This worthless fucking garbage, man. Seriously.
but this is how producers think.
It's sad.
I think honestly, again, I think these like whatever versus whatever should just exist as like not even as a comic book, as a drawing. One drawing.
Batman vs Predator is like an actually great comic book. There's also
Maybe it is. I guess
there's-
I don't know.
There's also the Punisher versus Archie from Archie Comics.
But is the Alien vs Predator comic book? Is it ironic? Like,
I don't think
is
that's
it
a comic
wink?
book. I think that was just a cameo.
What?
I think the Alien versus Predator, I don't think that originated as a comic. I think there was just an alien like skull or something in one of the Predator movies.
Okay.
But like the Batman Predator comic, that's good as like they're both acting in character. I keep getting notifications, sorry. Also Predator versus Archie, they're both very in character.
Anyways, what else did you
Yeah,
watch?
well,
Broken?
I don't need to talk about the rest. Because
Oh, they're that trash. They're not
dude,
even
you
worth
have
talking
you
about?
have no fucking idea. Like the Mummy Rebirth. Actually, I can swiftly talk about this because this was a movie that was eye-opening. This was a movie that was too bad for the Best of the Worst series of Red Letter Media. Like this is legitimately just a movie that is there on Amazon Prime to trick people into thinking they're watching The Mummy, or specifically The Mummy 2.
With like Brendan Fraser.
Yes, that movie.
That Brendan Fraser mummy movie is like an actual masterpiece.
I tried
I don't
watching
know
that,
if
and I didn't like the tone anymore with like the little kid. It was too whimsical for me.
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean the first one.
Yeah, I tried watching the first one.
The first one doesn't have a kid. That's the second one.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's different. I don't know.
I don't know if I'd go as far as say it was a masterpiece, but I remember it being a fun movie.
Yeah. But the point being that this is a movie that is so cheap and lazy and has no budget, but it's specifically there to trick you into thinking you're watching a movie. Like it just wants you to click on it, basically. And I don't know how much you guys remember from The Mummy 2, but there's that bald guy, right? That old pharaoh or whatever that is coming back.
No, he's the Pharaoh's priest. That's Arnold Vosloo, the actor.
Whatever. Point being that this movie also starts with a bald man in specifically that outfit being killed next to his wife. And then
God
that
damn it.
and then you come to the present, and it's basically a Brandon Fraser lookalike with some hot lady, and they're in a cheap cave with plastic walls. Like that is the level they're acting
Oh
on.
my god. You're not even lying.
What?
You're not even joking. Like, I'm looking at
No.
photos from it. This is horrible.
When they're resurrecting the mummy is basically has like a Halloween store mask on.
Ah. Do you want to know the top trivia on IMDb?
What? Yes.
Despite similar looking characters, this film is not related to the Mummy 1999 franchise.
Well, I should have read this beforehand. And it's like it's that kind of trash movie where can you see how long the movie is? I think it's maybe 80 minutes.
I have to go back. Yeah, it's 80 minutes.
And it's only 80 minutes, but every scene is so drawn out where like every single shot goes on for longer than it should. Because they're trying to waste your time, because they're trying to desperately get to that 80-minute mark. And everyone talks way too slowly. The jokes are painful, and then a scene should be over, but you're still seeing the actor looking around like, oh my god, what's going on? What's going on? This is scary.
There's a girl in a tank top with a very prominent cleavage.
Yeah, of course. It was disturbing how cheap and lazy and rip-off this is.
And you watched the whole thing?
No, I didn't. I skipped through that.
Oh, okay.
Like, even I have a tolerance.
Oh.
I have no tolerance for some shit. And then instead I watched Vampire, which I don't want to talk about too much, but that was genuinely funny. Because it was a movie in the Philippines about like weird vampires that when they turn into vampires, they lose the lower half of their body and they're just a flying torso with devil wings. And they have an extremely long tongue. It felt like someone was trying to mix vampires with some weird Asian mythology horror creature, because this also took place in the Philippines. Which might be because you can film in the Philippines without a budget, probably.
Are you calling the Philippines out, Bogan?
Well, again, bad movies, best of the worst. They had some movies there that were specifically made in the Philippines.
There's like a tax thing, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
The same way a lot of movies are shot in Italy or wherever.
Germany used to have that. That's why Uwe Boll made a bunch of movies. But Germany changed the law, which is why he doesn't get work anymore.
Oh no.
His skill was like exploiting some weird tax loophole in Germany, I think. And the German politics, they decided like, you know what? This fucking guy, we need to do something about him.
Anti-Uwe Boll law.
Like, they fixed the law to get rid of this crazy guy.
But yeah, Vampire was actually really funny as a bad movie, and also I feel like they at least tried. They had a lot of cinematography was at least interesting, if incompetent, and the CGI was horrible, which made it funny. And the action scenes were all like cut so randomly and poorly that it made me laugh. So,
I mean, at least there's that.
They tried to make a decent movie and they failed, and that's what makes it good.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that over anything else I talked about. Vampire.
But you also played World of Warcraft. Does this mean we're not going to see you again?
No.
People are going to notice a sporadic dip in the number of Boken appearances on the podcast?
No, because I've already been playing that for 2 months.
Oh, okay.
But that means there will be a long, long World of Warcraft talk.
Ugh.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Does that mean I get to have a long Final Fantasy 14 talk?
No.
I don't know.
No.
No. Wait. Why does he get to have a long World of Warcraft talk, but I don't get to have?
He doesn't, Daniel.
Of course I do.
He doesn't. He won't.
Dude, I've been watching so many World of Warcraft lore videos. This story is so bad.
See, I think it's fair if you've finished an expansion that you're allowed to at least talk about that expansion in a MMO.
I maintain that every episode of a show past the first one is technically just an expansion, and therefore you can only talk about the first episode.
That makes no sense.
No.
I don't want you guys to talk about The Sopranos again.
Well, that's happening too.
Wait, you don't want us to talk about The Sopranos? What the fuck does The Sopranos have to do with anything?
I think we had this rule that you're only allowed to talk about a topic once.
Yeah, I think so.
But
no, that's bullshit.
But that I don't like that because now I'm affected, so I rescind that rule.
No, fuck that rule. That rule sucks dick.
I'm probably going to talk about World of Warcraft, and then when I get into raiding, I'm going to talk about that.
That's a good rule. Who cares that I've broken it like 20 times? I keep talking about the same video games.
You're never allowed to talk about Silent Hill ever again.
Oh, no.
Hey, that means I can't talk about Silent Hill.
No, I don't care.
No, you can. You haven't ever had that as your topic.
No, Dan, you talked about 4.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll talk about 4 again because I'm going to I'm going to release my video on it one of these days.
Anyway, Daniel, what have you been doing?
Well, I am tempted to talk about Final Fantasy XIV, but I'll leave that for another time. Let's see. I've been watching some movies, but I'll just talk about one movie that I saw recently, which is Rashomon. Okay. Now, have either of you seen the movie Rashomon?
Rashomon, dear God.
What?
It's Rashomon.
Oh, this guy.
Oh, okay, you fucking weeb. You goddamn fucking
hey, Daniel,
navel gazing weeb.
Daniel, someone deleted the topic from the doc.
Yeah, funny that.
See, Asa actually pronounced Jigoku the right way, so I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, Daniel.
I
cannot have you talk about Rashomon.
Rashomon. Have either of you seen it?
No. That's a thing that Geese Howard yells in Tekken and probably in wherever he's from.
Isn't that one of those religious holidays in one of those fake religions?
No.
Isn't that like
something else?
I think this sounds like one of those things that's just there for like tax reasons. That was created in like the 60s because some group wanted to get a paid vacation or something. I'm gonna Google this while you guys talk.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hold on.
You thinking of Ramadan?
Maybe.
I think that's how you say it. And anyways,
no, Ramadan is a real holiday. That's like in Islam. I'm talking about like some fake 1960s. Oh, we're talking to the crystals. One of those crazy ass cult religions.
Can I please talk about the movie?
Fine.
God. So, okay, this is an Akira Kurosawa classic, 1950. And this doesn't get as much love compared to Yojimbo, Seven Samurai, Hidden Fortress, but I think it should.
I don't know any of those movies.
Are you serious?
I know about The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, which is a remake of Seven Samurai.
I'm fucking with you, Daniel. I know Akira Kurosawa. I know him well.
That was closer than what Daniel said, just for the record.
No, it's not. You should shut your whore mouth. So, this movie doesn't, from my experience, this movie doesn't seem to get quite as much love as those other ones I mentioned. But I think it should. I think it's about as good. It's a pretty fantastic flick.
What's it about?
It's about a bandit tricking the samurai and his wife. He lures them to this like secluded area, making him think that he's got some like hidden treasure. But it's all like a ruse because the bandit saw the wife was like, he became enamored with her. So he tricks the husband, ties him up, and then he has his way with the wife. But what happens after that is a little less unclear. So the movie mostly takes place after these events, and they're at court, and the bandit tells his side of the events. The wife tells her side of the events. At this point, kind of a spoiler, but the husband at this point, the samurai, is deceased, and his spirit supposedly gets channeled through a medium, so he gets to tell his version of the events. And then at the end, there's a woodcutter that was observing everything from afar, and he tells his version of the events. So what I think is really interesting is obviously all the stories are wildly different from each other and contradict each other in pretty extreme ways.
Why is he such a bad filmmaker to make a movie that's so filled with holes? Why does he have to tell a story 3 times? Why can't he tell it once like a real movie maker? I'm that guy.
Because Akira Kurosawa is a rogue, and he doesn't play by the rules. He's a rebel without a cause.
He's like that psychopath we have in the game industry. You know, that crazy guy. That crazy Japanese guy.
Hideo Kojima?
No, the crazier one.
Yoko Taro?
No, the crazy one who blocks people on Twitter.
Oh, Hideki Kamiya?
Yeah, Kamiya. He's a rogue.
He is. I mean, there is that amazing picture of him dressed up like as a punk rock hooligan next to his mom.
He still hasn't given me a new controller, even though I broke my one on Devil May Cry 1.
Oh, that's your fault.
No, he tweeted like, "Oh," after I sent him a picture of it and demanded he paid me a new controller. I'm still waiting.
Well, you ain't gonna get it. Anyways, I really love this movie. I think it's pretty fantastic. I think it's definitely worth checking out. I don't want to say too much more about it just because I don't want to spoil the film. But it's great. If you don't mind watching old black and white movie, give it a watch. It's fantastic.
For the record, I'm trying to find out why Geese Howard yells Rashomon in Tekken, and I can't find any answer.
Well, in the movie is called that because they're at a shrine, like a dilapidated shrine, and that's the name of it. And that's where, because most of the movie takes place again like after these events, and there's a priest and the woodcutter, and then there's like a bandit that passes by, and the 3 of them talk about what happened. Great film, wonderful film. I also played a few games, so I beat Keroblaster. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
No.
Do you guys know what Cave Story is?
Yes.
No.
Really?
Should I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably know it if I look at a photo. CAVE story. I tap on my keyboard, remembering that I'm not allowed to. Oh yeah, I know what this is.
Right. Okay, so same creator.
Okay.
So Cave Story is very well known for being one of the earlier indie games that was released, and it was made by a single guy. He even like composed the music. And Keroblaster, made by the same guy. And I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good. I feel, though, that if you go into this game expecting another Cave Story, you'll probably be disappointed. But taken on its own terms, I think it's a great game. So it kind of plays opposite to Cave Story in a lot of ways, even though there's a lot of similarities. Both of them have their super charming pixel art style. Both of them have their fantastic music. And both of them are like side-scrolling jump and shoot games. But Cave Story is more of like an experience. There's more exploration. It's also more story-driven. While Keroblaster is, there's not really much exploration. It's pretty straightforward. It's just level to level, fight enemies, fight bosses, beat the game. That's it. Very straightforward. But Keroblaster is much tighter in design. It's more compact in how it's like a bunch of bite-sized challenges, thrown at you between the different rooms. And for most of the game, it's not too difficult, but towards the end, it actually does get pretty challenging. Unlike Cave Story, though, where Cave Story had this like pretty cool system where you would get upgrade points for your weapons by killing enemies, but if you get hit, your weapons will level down. Keroblaster doesn't do that. It has a more straightforward. You get money and you use that money to level up your weapons, and that's it. But each of the different weapons are very different from each other, and when you level them up, they gain different properties rather than just being a straight increase in damage. You get this flamethrower, and when you level it up, the flamethrower not only gets bigger, but then you have like a shield of fire around you. And you get a spread shot, and eventually when you max it out, the spread shot bullets start to reflect off the walls. Different things like that give all of the weapons like a unique flavor to them. So yeah, this game's like super cheap. I think I got it on sale for like $5, and it is 100% worth it for that price. Super great game. Another fairly short game that I beat, ironically, is called Short Hike. So this is like another like indie game, and it's basically like a Animal Crossing type of thing almost, but like it's not. It's not about it's more Animal Crossing in aesthetic than it is like how you play the game. I want to say it's like the coziest fucking game I've ever played. Like this game is extremely relaxing. It's all the game is about is you're just going around this little island with these cute characters. You get these golden feathers, and these golden feathers allow you to climb more, and they allow you to jump more. So whenever you use a golden feather, they kind of act like a stamina when you're climbing, and they give you double, triple, quadruple, how many golden feathers you have jumps. And it's just about getting to the top of the mountain, and then you return home, and that's it. But what makes the game work is, I think if that's all you do, I think if you play the game and you're just like razor focused on, well, I'm just going to get the feathers, I'm going to get to the top of the mountain, and then go and finish the game and see credits, I think you're really missing the point of the game. A lot of it is about the experience. A lot of it is about, getting familiarized with the environment, learning about the characters, getting all the characters like super charming, and it's about learning about them and their troubles, and kind of seeing like their own little micro stories evolve. So like there's like one character that's a painter that's trying to find inspiration, and you keep seeing him pop up at different parts of the island. And at one point they're even like trying to paint in the rain, and you're like, what are you doing? Where do you like? And it's just like their weird attempt at trying to muster some sort of inspiration, like doing something like stupid just to find that spark. And a lot of this game I felt like had to do with so like the golden feathers themselves, I feel like they kind of represent this idea that if you take things one step at a time, if things get overwhelming, if you just focus on that first step and then the next step, rather than trying to just brute force your way, you look around, you try to take different angles to approaching problems. Eventually, you'll find not only that it's going to be easier that way, but it's just going to benefit you in the long run. So a very pleasant, inspirational game, and I highly recommend it. Just it can be beaten pretty quickly if you want to, or like I said, I feel that the best way to play it is to go around the island, meet all the different characters, and space things out and try to like get the most out of it.
Cool.
And,
cool.
Yeah, super great game. I think that's only like $10 as well. Like pretty cheap game.
Money? You had me until you said that. I'm not. No, I'm joking. That does sound cool.
Yeah,
Does it at any point feel like? So what I always have a problem with like this sounds like a cozy game.
it is.
Does it at any point feel like you're just like? It's not like there's no time management shit in it where you're like, oh, I'll have to wait. Like, is there any
No.
time where you feel like there isn't? What am I trying to say? I feel like often in games that are supposed to be cozy, I feel like I'm kind of on a treadmill waiting for stuff to happen. Does this game fall on that, or does it sort of transcend that?
There is no timer.
Hmm?
There's no mechanics that have you waiting around.
Hmm? Right.
It's literally just exploring the island, pretty decently sized island, meeting the characters, getting the golden feathers, getting
Hmm?
to the top.
This sounds like a game you'll play once.
Probably.
Yeah.
I might go back to it to see everything because I don't think I saw everything in the game.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But,
like if it's
yeah,
just short and cozy, then actually it's a game that you might play again. Because
That's
it's
true.
a
I
low
play-
low hurdle to just be playing it.
Yeah. I go back to Journey every now and then.
I still
I
need
actually
to
haven't
play
played
that.
Journey.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh.
I really
Well,
should.
look at you two. Well, no, don't do it. You wouldn't be able to enjoy it. It has subtext. You guys wouldn't get that.
I knew a man that used subtext. He was a coward. But I think it's, yeah, like Boken said, because it's such like a cozy, comfortable game. I think it depends on who you are, but like it's either going to be a game where you play it once and you're done, or it'll be a game that you want to go back to just because there's really not much else that creates that same feeling. And if you want that that emotional connection again,
Hmm?
there's not much else that's going to give it to you.
Right.
But yeah, don't worry about time management or anything like that. There's nothing in this game that has you just like literally just waiting around for things to happen. That's not the case. It's more about like if you're having trouble progressing, it's because you haven't explored enough and you haven't like made the effort to see everything that the game, not literally everything. You don't have to do everything in the game to get to the top, but you just haven't made enough an effort to see all of your options in order to progress. So yeah, the last thing that I did was I finished The Messenger. I think this is a game that I talked about a long time ago. Like
What is this?
the Messenger is a sort of Ninja Gaiden throwback.
Oh.
Like NES Ninja Gaiden.
Alright. Oh, wait, I recall you talking about this. Was I on that episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Yeah, so I stopped playing it because at some point the Messenger stops being like a Ninja Gaiden like and it becomes a Metroidvania, but a pretty poor one to be frank.
Every
Because-
single person, including myself, I know has said the same thing about that. That it's just
Yeah.
a terrible, terrible twist. The twist is cool, but the execution is horrible.
Yeah, where like at some point the game just becomes a Metroidvania. Now, it also forces you to see one of the good things about most Metroidvanias is that the backtracking tends to be optional, and most of the reason why you would need to backtrack is just because you want to get some upgrades. But in the case of the Messenger, it is literally forcing you to go back through all the areas of the game in order to get some MacGuffins. And it's not very fun. But since I had enough distance from when I first played the game, I felt like, you know what, I want to go back and finish it. You know, I always had that nagging feeling whenever I don't beat a game and I leave it hanging like that. And I decided to go back and finally finish it. And I did. I wasn't nearly as bothered by the backtracking because I had that distance from the game. So there are actually parts that I know that I did before, but it still felt kind of fresh because it had been so long since I played it. And it is a shame that the game decided to go that route because, like, some of the bosses that you face during this, like, latter half of the game are really good. They're a lot of fun. And the ending of the game is really good, too. Like, overall, I feel like The Messenger is a really good game, but yeah, it just shot itself in the foot with this Metroidvania thing at the end, and it's a shame. But oh well. I'm looking forward to Cyber Shadow, which is another like Ninja Gaiden-esque game. It's not made by the same developer. It's made by a totally different developer, but it's another like Metroid, not Metroid. No, it's actually not Metroidvania. It's another like Ninja Gaiden-esque game, and it looks really good. And that's it for me. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to reconvene with our essay topic on brand expansion. See you in a bit.
Multimedia madness, yes.
Yes, see you in a bit. And we're back.
Yes.
So we are talking about whether or not brand expansion is harmful. I believe this was your topic, Acer.
This is the bastardized version of my topic, yes.
Okay, what inspired you to want to talk about this?
Okay, so my basic premise, my thinking, guys. I went into the Acer cave and I began meditating. I was in the shower once and I thought, hey, this could be a topic. My thinking is, I think there is a purity to something that just is itself and doesn't need to expand into being literally everything. Like
Star Wars?
Yeah, like, and there's a lot of great Star Wars games, and that's like a wonderful treasure trove of like, George Lucas just had billions of dollars, so he was able to fund a bunch of experimentations into like, how do you make this sort of flight simulator also a Star Wars game? But did you guys watch the Ratchet and Clank movie?
No.
Like that genuinely sours me on Ratchet and Clank. That they just bastardized what it was and made it into like this Pixar-y, kid-friendly just wank.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch it, because I knew that's what it was going to be.
I think there is a certain quality to just, here is the work, and the work is the work. Like, you wouldn't see Stanley Kubrick whoring out his movies to also be made into video games.
No, but there are certain works that lend themselves more to being a video game than not. Like, yeah, I would never imagine there to be a fucking Clockwork Orange video game. Unless it's something like, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. But maybe a Stanley Kubrick film could be made as that kind of video game.
So what are we talking about specifically? Are we talking about taking one original piece of media and then bringing that into other types of media? Or are we also talking about offspring TV shows, movies, spin-offs, remakes, reboots?
See, this is why I specifically didn't want to use the word brand expansion. I wanted to say multimedia madness. Because I feel like the way you guys decided the question to be framed, it's quite limiting. Whereas my original thinking was that you have something beautiful and then you just bastardize it to bring it to different groups. And that something of the original is lost when you do it.
But how is that different from our question?
Because you're asking if it is harmful. You're
it is harmful.
You're limiting the framework of the question.
No.
Whereas mine was just a general discussion.
No, we could take this discussion however we want.
Fine. The viewers will dislike.
No, I'm pretty sure they'll be okay with it.
I'm pretty sure they don't care.
But like, so with Star Wars, because I think that's like one of the go-to examples in regards to brand expansion. Like, there's an argument for and against brand expansion
Mm.
because, like, yeah, we get stuff like the like Knights of the Old Republic games, which are awesome, but then you also get like those fucking EA Battlefield games with loot boxes, and I never played them personally, but they seem pretty scummy.
Mm. But like in a grander sense, also rather than just looking at the individual media, like IO is going to make a James Bond game now, and they made Hitman. So if they make a great James Bond game, that's probably going to be a good game. But you know what? I don't fucking want James Bond games. Because Hitman is, like, I'm more interested in Hitman than I am in James Bond as a video game. And when you keep branding, like, just make original things rather than dump things over from movies. And now we're getting, like, a Harry Potter RPG about the years in Hogwarts. Like, I don't care about Hogwarts. Why couldn't this just be its own thing? What?
Because money.
Yeah, I know that.
See, that's where the question kind of becomes not so focused anymore, because this is also just about creating franchises or building a franchise where they didn't need to be a franchise.
This is why I say multimedia madness.
Well, but it can also be just movies. Like, keep making more movies when there was one great movie and then they keep dumping in more and more and more, and it just becomes shitty, right? Or there was one game that was great and then they keep trying to remake that game or give it even more sequels, and they all suck. All of that can happen.
Why are you crapping on every Mario game like that? No.
I mean, there are, like, let's be fair, there are
most unfair example.
Yeah, there are instances where it has worked. Like, I mean, Final Fantasy had the right idea where every game, totally different world, totally different game mechanics, different characters, and granted, this has led to like inconsistency in quality. You have some Final Fantasy games that are considered classics and some not so much. But at the very least, because all of them are so different from each other, you have a pretty varied and interesting franchise. Regardless of how you feel about any one particular game, chances are you're going to find at least a handful that's going to resonate with you.
Yeah. I noticed that nobody stopped you when you decided to talk about Final Fantasy again, even though we were going to ban that.
I thought you were going to ban Final Fantasy 14 specifically.
Yeah, well. Yeah, well.
Well, too bad. I will talk about Final Fantasy 14 one day. You can't stop me.
But yeah, I think not World of Warcraft, sorry. Harry Potter is an interesting example. Because, I mean, those books were popular, but I feel like a lot of people also got into them because of the movies.
Yeah, a lot of man-children.
Sure. But the world itself, the franchise itself, keeps on going, right? Because now we have these Fantastic Beasts movies, and I think there's some kind of prequel thing coming. And then we have games being announced, and also some games that people like. It's just all over the place, even though it's not a great... I feel like that isn't a great world to actually be in.
The Harry Potter world.
Yeah, like it's difficult to do a lot with that world. Because
I feel like also that's a game. That's like a world. Like if you try to make that into a game, like the impulse to make that is like, well, you can have like all these spells, and then we'll have to program in a bunch of different spells, and you have like a selection wheel. But
that's not how it works. That's not what they do, I think.
No, but like I think that's the impulse. Like we have a formula. Like there was a time where every movie game was like platformer. Like for some reason, you have like Superman games that are platformers. That's like on the NES. But then all of them became like third-person, over-the-shoulder action games. Yeah. And that's like the 7th generation. Whereas now it's like, oh, Star Wars. We can make a Dark Souls game that's like Star Wars.
Well, but now
and
it's
Jedi
open
Fallen Order.
world.
Yeah, it's open
And
world, and
they
you have like
announced
collecting shit.
they announced the Star Wars open world game. They announced the Harry Potter open world game.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just repeating what is safe, but you're trying to take the skin of something that is also already popular and mixing the two.
Can I just say, as an aside, because I only read the first 3 Harry Potter books, it always
Nerd.
it always bothered me how shitty of a sorcerer Carrie was in those first 3 books.
Carrie?
Like, because
Carrie?
Harry.
Yeah.
Harry.
Yeah, he was shit.
Harry.
He was a shitty mage. He was a shitty magician, sorcerer, whatever, like wizard. He sucked. I don't know if he got any better. I don't know if he got any better in the later books, but in those first 3 books, like, he didn't really do anything special.
He was never a bad sorcerer. That's not true. He was actually fairly talented.
He never. I mean, okay, granted, I haven't read these books since like middle school, which was like 15 years ago, but probably longer than that. But still,
Imagine-
I just remember at the time thinking he's not really doing anything all that crazy interesting as a wizard.
But I feel like, imagine being such a colossal fuck up as a villain, Dumbledore, that you constantly get thwarted by like a prepubescent boy.
You mean
Wait,
Voldemort?
Dumbledore?
Oh, Voldemort. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Is that a twist later on that I didn't know about?
Dumbledore, I think, is also kind of an idiot, but I guess he's not evil. But like, yeah, Voldemort, where you're like, that's the world's most evil man just happens to also be the world's dumbest man.
Yeah.
What is this? Oh, you have to go into and find the Philosopher's Stone. Just stab Harry, like, what is with these convoluted plans? Just go up to him
Yeah.
and bang him in the head with a rock.
Harry has a lot of help. People protecting
Yeah.
him or ancient spells protecting him. But he's not a fuck up. He's fairly talented in certain areas. He's a bad student though, because he gets into trouble a lot and he just doesn't like paying attention to dumbasses.
To Snape and his oily, greasy hair.
And also, yeah, some of the teachers have it out for him. Why am I defending Harry Potter? I have no idea.
Why is this a Harry Potter talk?
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
here's the thing, though. In regards to Harry Potter brand expansion, though, I do have to admit, I went to the Universal Studios, like theme park that had like a section dedicated to Harry Potter, and that shit was really cool. I can't deny that. Like it, I drank butterbeer. I went on some of the rides. The sets were like lavishly created. My sister bought herself a wand. Like all of that shit was really cool. I can't really deny that at all. So I don't know if I totally believe that like it's like the franchise doesn't lend itself well to expansion.
Here's the issue with Harry Potter specifically, if we're still on that topic. What makes people interested in Harry Potter is the world itself and all the magical things that can happen. And specifically the idea of being in Hogwarts and having this extraordinary school life, which is what none of the games have even been about. And even the movies have not really been about that, because the books have enough time to build that up. The books have a lot of time to just spend on these lectures that the students are having, and these eccentric teachers and all that, and the whole school system with the points, all that shit.
Is Harry Potter more like slice of life anime in the books?
It is, yeah. But it's not, because there's always this ongoing plot line of, something dangerous is happening.
Does it have the, like, more elements of just slice of life?
It has more school elements in the books than in the movies and in the games, as far as I know. And especially in the games, it is really difficult, unless you're Persona, to have an interesting school system. Which is why they always divert back to being, random generic action games or platformers, like the PlayStation Harry Potter games, I think. I remember playing those.
There's a reason why Trigger made an anime series that is basically Harry Potter, but with anime girls. Just saying. Yeah, Little Witch
Oh
Academia.
yeah.
What's that?
Exactly what I said. It's Harry Potter, but with anime girls.
Interesting. You boys would probably like that, you weeps.
But even Harry Potter itself does at some point just get convoluted with all the dark magic going on and Voldemort coming back to power and blah 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 every time. That does sometimes get in the way.
I will say I haven't seen the Little Witch Academia series, but I did see the first movie, and that movie is good. I do recommend it. It's a nice experience. It's only like an hour long. It's good.
I watched a movie once, by some guy, and it's like this girl who like delivers shit on her broom in a town.
You mean Kiki's Delivery Service?
I think so. It's by some guy, and I thought that movie was okay, but I'm probably not gonna watch it again.
You mean Hayao Miyazaki's?
No, I don't know, some guy.
That's a great movie. You take that back.
I also watched this movie about this girl who was spirited away. I don't remember its name.
Oh, shut up.
No, but going back on topic, I think my issue is that once video games independently figured out, you know what, we can use this mechanic for this purpose. Like now, like my example of James Bond over at IO. Do you think they're gonna fundamentally like distill James Bond down to its core and make that into a game, or do you think they're gonna reskin Hitman to be James Bond?
But what is James Bond distilled that doesn't even lend itself to games?
No, I think that's like a wish fulfillment of being like the super capable agent.
Because the most popular Bond game is GoldenEye, but GoldenEye is a straight up first person shooter, and the Bond movies are not about just shooting people. It's about spycraft and being like this awesome character that gets shit done and is on these lavish adventures.
But wait. There is a game called Alpha Protocol, which apparently it's a buggy piece of shit, but outside of it being a buggy piece of shit, actually does a pretty decent job of being like a kind of James Bond simulator in a way, where you have like these dialogue options that represent like different spectrums of being a spy. Of like, you can be like the suave badass, or you can be like a more like aggressive type. And it also has like the leveling system where you can customize your character. Yeah. You could customize your guy to be more stealthy, or you could treat him more like a shooter, or you could focus more on martial arts, different shit like that. And you can also put points into being able to hack and pick locks and shit like that. It seems like it could have been a great game if it wasn't like released unfinished. But this idea that like you can't have a game that taps into what makes Bond like the heart and soul of Bond, I don't think is right. But I do think, Acer, you do make a good point of, but they won't take advantage of that because it's I don't want to say easier necessarily, but I guess so. It's easier just to make a Hitman game again and
no,
just
I mean,
slap James Bond.
I think there's a specific reason they went with IO. They could have gone with like, oh, we'll get Bethesda to do it. Like, Bethesda's making an Indiana Jones game. But, like, they could have gone with Bethesda. They went with IO because they saw Hitman and were like, hey, that could be a James Bond game.
But James Bond is not an assassin. What's the point of reskinning Hitman as a James Bond game? That's not James Bond.
I think that's a much cleaner transition than maybe you're giving it credit for.
I don't think so at all.
Here's the thing, though. Like, we were talking about Harry Potter before, and Boken was bringing up how like the games so far have just been like these generic action games. But I was thinking, in order to more accurately portray what it's like to live in Hogwarts, it should be more like Persona.
Isn't the new one like an RPG?
It's an open world RPG, as far as we know. So they are at least going to probably focus on the schools and giving you some sort of avatar that lives in Hogwarts. But I don't know.
You know what's interesting? You could play a Slytherin and you can just be a dick to everyone.
But I think the idea that like you would have to like Persona, it's about like managing your time correctly and choosing what activities to perform on certain times, and I think it could be more because like with Persona, it's not as in depth as it could be because it also has to be a dungeon crawling turn based RPG. So it's kind of like half and half.
Yeah.
But like with Harry Potter, I don't see why they couldn't take that idea and run with it and make it and flesh it out, and make it a lot more in depth. Maybe actually similar to Bully.
I was gonna say,
I haven't played that.
Isn't Bully though more about like skipping classes?
Not necessarily.
But yeah, it could work. I don't know. I don't know why we're talking only about Harry Potter, but Hogwarts is this magical place where everything can happen, and you open random doors, and suddenly in an enchanted room. That would lend itself to a semi-open world for sure. If you could explore the school itself, and then you also had to go to class. We'll see, but
I guess
see, class mechanics, school as a mechanic is not popular, so I doubt they will.
Well, there's a reason kids
that.
don't like school. Imagine like going home from school and then you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna play my Harry Potter game where I can sit at a dumb teacher tell me stuff."
It's so fun in Persona.
I mean, you say that, but like Tokimeki Memorial, which was never translated outside of Japan, is like a dating sim where like a huge chunk of that game is just going to school and managing your time.
I say this, but then I realize like the simulation games, Farm Simulator, those exist and they're wildly popular in crazy places like Germany.
Fire Emblem Three Houses, like that's also a game that focuses heavily on like the school aspect, and that's like I think that's actually the best-selling Fire Emblem game, or one of the best-selling Fire Emblem games.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's, and again, we were talking about Persona as well. Persona games are also very popular.
That's true. People do talk a lot about them, but they're too anime for Acer to give them a chance.
See, but both of those games still have a lot of combat, and I'm afraid of too much combat in a Harry Potter open world exploration game.
So I just looked it up real quick. So for a while, Fire Emblem Awakening was the best-selling Fire Emblem game, and Fire Emblem Three Houses sold more than it.
Aren't these like super waifu-heavy games?
Yep.
Yes. Is that what you want in your Harry Potter games, Daniel? You're like trying to make waifus with a bunch of 12-year-old girls, you crazy man? Is that what you want, Daniel?
I did not say any of that. You are putting words in my mouth, sir. This is slander. I will not stand for this.
Is that what you want, Bogan?
Hey, the girls in Fire Emblem games are all of age. Don't give me that crap.
Aren't the Fire Emblem protagonists like 70 and the girls all 20?
No.
No, okay, fine.
So
I'm more of also, I want to make it clear, I'm more of a fan of the older Fire Emblem games before they started introducing all the fucking dating shit. I'm just saying, Path of Radiance is the best Fire Emblem, has none of that waifu shit. I'm just throwing that out there.
To get back to topic.
Path of Radiance is a phenomenal game.
What are the biggest, most widespread franchises that exist?
Star Wars. Star Wars is number one.
Star Wars.
It's not even close.
Star Trek, Harry Potter.
I guess like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were big back in the day. So were Simpsons.
Not really anymore.
No, not anymore.
I feel like the TMNT isn't really widespread. That's always fairly the same, both in terms of games.
Well, still though, TMNT had the comic books, the cartoon, it had multiple movies, had video games. So
Toy
I mean,
line.
Yeah, but I don't think those movies ever did anything super crazy, or like the shows. Those are always
that-
about the same characters fighting the same villains, and that
Oh,
translates.
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans are gonna come out of the woodwork, Spoken.
that Thirst movie was pretty good.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying, unlike Star Wars, which has branched off in so many different directions, and Star Trek too,
Yeah, that's true.
TMNT has
Okay.
always had the same core.
Would you say?
Sure, I guess.
Would you say Lord of the Rings?
No.
I feel like I would say they are very. I think there's like they have video games. They have like a creation origin story. There's a bunch of
Lord of the
different
Rings
timelines.
is pretty big.
It's big, but not Star Wars big, not Harry Potter big.
No, the Tolkien estate is very protective of Lord of the Rings. Much more so than George Lucas ever was of Star Wars.
On the other hand, though, while that was, I think that's equal parts good and bad, though, because while on one hand, Star Wars has mountains of terrible books that no one wants to read, at the same time, we got Knights of the Old Republic. We got Jedi Outcast. You know, like we got some good stuff.
Okay, this is
along with all the trash.
This is the one point I wanted to make about this topic. Is the question is brand expansion harmful? And I feel like Star Wars is proof that it's not, that it's actually helpful, because for all the garbage Star Wars media that exists, people will always think back, like Daniel just did, to, hey, what if the next video game is as great as Knights of the Old Republic? Or what if the next movie is as great as Empire Strikes Back? Like, Empire Strikes Back has been, 40 years ago? People are still hanging on that movie. People are still hanging on KOTOR, on Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, TIE Fighter, whatever. It is these... When something that's popular spawns some kind of media that's also really popular and just good in terms of quality, then I feel like it doesn't matter how much shit releases under that same name. People will just latch onto one or two examples they really liked, and they will always hope that that magic spark will repeat somehow.
No matter how much literal fucking trash is expelled into the ether, it'll all be forgotten because the good stuff is so good that it will always stand the test of time and people will still remember it.
Yeah, and when then a franchise is really spread out, then you can't even go, well, I'm looking forward to the next movie, but Star Wars games have always been bad. And then, no, there have been 5 good Star Wars games in total, maybe.
And I mean, and sometimes good stuff does come out. While I wouldn't say that Jedi Fallen Order was fucking amazing or anything, it was a good, solid game. It was an enjoyable game, and I don't think people are going to remember it the same way they remember KOTOR or Jedi Academy. But I think people will still remember it fondly because it's a solid game. So we still had that the potential for good stuff to come out in the future still exists.
Yes. And then you have stuff like The Mandalorian, which shows like, no, you can make this into like a television show, and it's still like, it still can work.
The Mandalorian feels like one of those where people will just think back like, oh, that is possible, so I'm still holding out hope, and I will look forward to the next Star Wars thing.
I've seen season 1, and I've seen like the first 3 episodes of season 2 of Mandalorian, and it's fucking good.
Yep, until it stops being good.
Bogan really wants to have that talk.
I really need to have that talk.
No, see, we don't, because it's been like 4 months at this point, and it's done. It's over.
I'm not done.
People have had the talk. This is like when The Simpsons make an episode about some politic thing that happened 3 years ago because the episodes take so long to make. The Mandalorian, the window for that talk has passed.
Dude,
we need to move on.
This podcast is constantly evergreen content. We will talk about wherever the fuck we want, whenever we want.
Fine.
Since when have we ever cared about being relevant?
Yeah, especially
come on.
Especially with how long we take to release new episodes.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding, Bogan. I will quit the podcast if you have us watch or read Pride and Prejudice.
Hey, what the fuck?
That's like
What is
just
your problem?
the height. There's just like the Venn diagram of people who listen to the Espresso podcast, and then there's another circle 50 degrees north, and that's like people who like Pride and Prejudice, and never the two meet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Pride and Prejudice is a good book, but
It's a great book.
yeah, absolutely no one is going to watch that fucking podcast special. Fucking no one. That it's
People
going to
know
it's
Pride
going to
and
get like
Prejudice. That's a normie movie. Come on.
like dude, that podcast episode will get 30 views if we're lucky.
That is a great.
Yeah.
See,
Again, I'm sure it is great. I'm sure it is great. No one's going to give a
I
fuck.
want to say that at least part of the people that watch our podcast or listen to it are willing to experiment with media they might not be familiar with.
Yeah, those same 30 people I mentioned. Like, dude, seriously.
That is such a good book, though.
I am not making any judgments on the book at all. I'm just
it's a
saying.
really good book? Blood Meridian.
Okay.
Did I? No, okay. I thought I lost
I
connection
think
again.
I think
you guys weren't. You guys didn't. You guys didn't clap when I said that, so I thought I had lost connection.
Oh, of course.
See, okay, let's look at it this way. What if Pride and Prejudice was a franchise? What if there were a bunch of sequels?
Do you think that would be good
I don't
or
know.
bad?
I was. Would that warrant if Pride and Prejudice wasn't just this one book and like 2 or 3 movies that have been made?
They made like a book that was Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
Yeah, I know. But if this was a giant franchise, could I then talk about it? Because more people know about it, and maybe some people know part of the Pride and Prejudice mythos, and they latch onto that, even though they've never read the original.
So I was thinking about this whole brand expansion thing, and I was thinking about how in Star Wars' case, the brand expansion isn't harmful. But I think in some cases it can be harmful. I was thinking about the Fate franchise. I absolutely believe that it has been harmful, even though expanding the brand has made them like infinite money. I believe it has been harmful to the brand overall. Like I think the reputation has been tarnished, and me as a fan, I think less of the brand because of the expansion. So we have the original Fate Stay Night, great visual novel. They released Fate Zero, great prequel. Apparently the sequel is also good. I never read the sequel, but apparently that's good too. If they would have just ended it there, it would have been fine. But then they had to make the fucking Fate Apocrypha with the fucking Astolfo. Then they made the fucking
good old Astolfo.
What's Astolfo?
Good old Astolfo.
Yes, with his giant cock.
Yes.
What?
Apparently,
excuse me. I zoned out for a few seconds, and now we're talking about something. What?
Have you never seen Astolfo? It's like the most popular
F or
Wink
PH
character ever.
Yeah, it's
F or PH.
It's a man dressed up as a woman. Just
see.
straight up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pink hair.
Yes.
Is this what the internet? Is this the new giant vampire
This
chick
is
from
not
Resident
new at
Evil?
all.
Not new in the slightest.
Okay.
Anyways, the point is, so then we have this fucking Fate Grand Order gotcha game, and that's what really kills it for me, where it's just like, it's just about the gotcha game now. That's when people talk about Fate, they don't think about the good anime. They don't think about the good visual novel. They think about this fucking gotcha game. They think about all the hentai artists drawing art for this stupid gotcha game. They, it's inspired like countless amounts of porn, and it's just like, I'm sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it.
I feel so vindicated that a few years ago I was like, I think media is gonna get more pornographic because that's like attracting porn artists and that's free advertisement. And you laughed at me, Daniel. You said you had no faith in my prediction. I feel so vindicated by reality.
Thanks, Nostradamus. Porn is popular. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Quasimodo predicted all of this.
You know what franchise is really hurt by I guess not expanding into different media, though they did get a bunch of pachinko games. Silent Hill. It was beautiful. And then they just Frankenstein together a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, but Silent Hill is still a name, right? Even though that's not really a widespread franchise, but
I feel like normies know Silent Hill.
Yeah,
they know of it. It had a movie
that didn't have like a billion TV shows or comic book or what the hell ever. There are no Silent Hill novels as far as I'm aware. But that is still so popular as a name that people just hear Silent Hill and they hope it will be good and they will buy it.
Mm. Did you hear Kojima is secretly working on it?
You can't take away those first 3 games.
Genius Kajumbo does it again.
What? Is that a racist joke, Daniel?
No, of course not. I do think there are certain things that lend themselves better to brand expansion than others. Star Wars clearly benefits from brand expansion. I don't think The Sopranos would there was a Sopranos video game and it was fucking terrible. I mean, granted, it doesn't take away from how great the Sopranos TV show is, but like it definitely did not benefit in any way from that shitty video game.
But if there's a Sopranos remake, people will watch it.
They're doing a prequel, aren't they? About young Tony Soprano?
Yeah, they're doing a prequel movie.
Of course.
James Gandolfini's kid, I think, is playing Tony Soprano.
Yes. To be fair, like from what I hear, it's going to be more about his dad. So I think that's going to be interesting.
I guess in the end, it all boils down to brand expansion, like with Star Wars. It can be good if you just give creative people free rein to really get experimental, but it can also be terrible.
I'm trying to really come up with examples of when a brand expanded in a way that was so terrible that it just killed the brand. Because I feel like people are generally very forgiving and always hoping that it will become better.
Yeah, but like I would say like the oversaturation of superhero movies, I think that has taken away something very special that like you used to have with, comic books. It used to be a bit more of a close-knit group. There used to be like this is what we like, and here's like the way we like these stories are made. And then it began to making billions of dollars, and all of a sudden there's just like this influx of garbage that comes in. And the entire comic book industry has just been turned inside out, and it's just a vehicle for producing movies now rather than being creative stories in its own right. Not exclusively, of course. But I do think, like, Robert Downey Jr., I think he took something away from Iron Man, even though he made him much more popular than he ever was before. But then, I mean, you can always go back to those old stories. They're still there. So, I don't know. I guess I'm just being nostalgic for no reason.
But I was thinking about what Boken said, and because my misgivings with the Fate franchise is mostly personal, because like like I said, it's still healthy. It's still around. And it's making like bajillions of dollars. So the harm to the brand is from my perspective, but like, but from like a from the company's perspective, they're making more money than they ever had before. So for them, the brand expansion has been a net positive.
Yeah.
But I'm totally with you on the Fate is just ruined now. Even though I don't really know Fate, but that is exactly why I won't check out anything more from it, because it has been going on for too long, and I know that I'm not the target audience anymore. The target audience is this fucking weep trash degenerates. So
Yeah.
they like okay, that is their franchise now, which is sad in a way because it could lead to different things that I would enjoy, but I'm not giving that shit my time of day.
Like the only way I feel right now is like if the only way it can be redeemed in my eyes is if they release a proper they do a proper release of the original visual novel. Because all we have is that original fan translated version. And the fan translation in it is not very good. Like whoever it's whoever wrote it like clearly did not have a degree in English. I'll just say that.
You know what franchise genuinely suffered, like, retroactively from too many entries into it?
What?
Metal Gear Solid. I think Metal Gear Solid is, like, it actively hurt previous games that, like, Peace Walker came out. Like, Big Boss's story, it's so well told in Snake Eater, and then it's like, oh, now he's collecting AI parts to recreate the boss, and it's like, no, come on, what is this?
Yeah. Peace Walker was fun to play, but the story in it was just nonsense. I mean, more like, nonsense than usual. Metal Gear stories are always nonsense, but like in Peace Walker, especially, it was just
nonsense. But they're super thematically resonant. Whereas in Peace Walker, it's just like this seems like some imbecile fan story that got made into a big game somehow. And then Kojima had the genius idea to go like, oh, you know what? The Phantom Pain is going to be a continuation of Peace Walker, that game nobody played. So who cares that people aren't going to know what the hell is happening in it?
Yeah, I think something that a lot of people don't seem to get... Same with Metal Gear
Solid 4, sorry.
I think something a lot of people don't seem to get about storytelling is they people love to focus on like these like convoluted, weird like storylines and all of this like nonsense being mashed together to try and come up with something that seems halfway unique. And it's like, no. Fuck all that shit. What makes a good story is if you care about the fucking characters. If you don't have an emotional connection with the characters of your story, you don't have a fucking story. And that's such a simple thing that so many writers just don't seem to understand.
Are you saying Metal Gear Solid 4 does not have good characters? What about the one where Revolver Ocelot hypnotized himself to think he was Liquid Snake? And then he tricked the AIs into thinking he was Liquid Snake, but in the end he revealed that he was just pretending. Like, what the fuck were you smoking, Kojima? Why didn't you could have left it. He could have left it at Snake Eater, and it could have been like, holy shit, the Kojima trilogy. rather than being this confused mess. But like, the new director for Metal Gear Solid 4 got like death threats, and Konami were like, Kojima, you have to go back. They're gonna kill this guy. And he was like, how much money you gonna pay me? So
see, but here's the thing. This goes back to what I was saying with Fate. Because that still made money. It still made a lot of money. Regardless of regardless of how we feel about MGS4. I agree with you. MGS4 is a fucking mess. But regardless of how we feel about it, MGS4 made bank. Huge bank.
They sold the PlayStation 3.
It did.
That's so weird. And people gave it like great reviews. That's a piece of shit if there ever was one.
I think for a lot of people, they just didn't want to feel that they regretted putting down $600 for the PS3.
Yeah, I guess. Think
Think about it. They put down all that. They put down all that money for a PS3, and so when they play MGS4, they were like, "This is the greatest game of all time because I put down $600 for the PS3."
Yeah. I think a lot of people will probably say the same when the new Ratchet game comes out. Probably said the same about Demon Souls remake. I don't know.
No,
is brand
the
expansion
Demon Souls
harmful?
remake is fine. Shut up.
I have so many issues with that.
Yeah, the issues that you have are like nitpicky nonsense from like a butthurt fanboy that cares too much about small details.
No, it's like I know the lore better than the people who made the remake.
You probably do, but who cares?
I'm watching like these massive holds, and I'm like, holy shit, this is terrible. But if all you want is like, it looks kind of like Demon Souls and it plays like Demon Souls, then yeah, go play it, you mouth breather.
Oh, shut up.
Nah, if people like it, that's fine. I don't care.
I don't know about that, Chief. Anyways, this is about brand expansion, right?
Yeah, this is a topic that fell apart quickly. But we had the Harry Potter talk, Bogan won it. And now we'll never talk about it again.
We won't?
So what
Yay.
if like Half-Life, its brand expanded into like an HBO special or something?
I don't care.
No,
No
but
one cares about Half-Life.
That's not true.
Who cares about Half-Life? Like, I feel like
A lot of people
I feel
do.
like people's energy for Half-Life is long since like passed beyond being hyper fans.
But what I'm saying is, I feel like that would not hurt the Half-Life brand in the same way that, like, turning Pride and Prejudice into a video game would hurt Pride and Prejudice.
What if it's like an anime video game where you pick which of the Pride girls you're dating?
This is the worst idea ever.
Thank you. I'm gonna try to get a job in marketing.
The Pride and Prejudice waifu simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in House Pride or House Prejudice?
I think we've exhausted this topic.
Are you guys looking forward to the Last of Us TV show?
No.
Maybe.
It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna wait and see what the reaction is to that. I am not watching that day one.
Let me ask you a question. What are they gonna just retell the story, in which case I don't care, I already played the game? Or are they gonna just do another zombie apocalypse story, in which case I don't care, I've seen it 1,000,000 times?
Maybe they can fill in those 20 years that they didn't show after the intro of The Last of Us 1.
Oh yeah, that's what I want to see.
Actually, I had an idea for a future topic. Kind of a sentiment that I hear a lot, and I don't like it, is some people will say, if this game's story were a book, it'd be a shitty book.
What?
Yeah, you cut out.
I said...
No, I heard it, but...
No, you cut out for me. What did he say?
I said a common sentiment that I hear is, oh, if this game's story were a book, it'd be a shitty book. And I really don't like this because I feel that it's very dismissive. And I think this would make for an interesting topic for another episode.
I've never heard that said anywhere.
No, I've never heard
It sounds kind of dumb.
Really?
That sounds super specific.
I've heard this multiple times. This is not... You say it's... No, this is something I've heard more than once.
If you can figure out a snappy way to phrase it, we'll put it in an episode one day.
Did you guys see the King K tweet that I retweeted? Where someone commented on his video?
What did he comment?
It's basically a guy, I think it's his Mario Galaxy 2 review. And he's complaining, you are under the fake assumption that story is worth as much as the gameplay. And then he starts throwing out percentages of like, as if both were worth 50% of the total quality each. And then, but no, actually story is only 30%. and gameplay is 60, so you can say that one is better than the other, blah, 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 blah. And he just basically turns
Where did
he basically turns
get
quality
this?
into a math equation.
No, wait a minute. Don't mock this man. He sounds like he solved every critic's issue.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy has like the genius we've all been waiting for. Fuck.
All to say that he doesn't care about story in games. That's what it comes down to.
I'm going to agree with the guy because King K is my arch enemy, as I established on this podcast already.
Oh, look at that. Next episode, we're having King K as a guest.
Good. I'm gonna pounce on him.
I'm actually
So tell me, Bob.
I will now unironically see if King K has the time.
So to wrap this up, I'm gonna say brand expansion probably doesn't hurt, and it only hurts me because I wish people would make new things.
Yes, brand expansion hurts me than it hurts the brand.
I feel like there's surely an example of a game or like a movie which got a TV show, and it's like I think there must be an example where it just genuinely hurt the original. And I also think it hurts creativity that people I think it's like in a meta sense it's harmful that we keep recycling. Like James Bond, it came out in like what? The 50s, the books, and we're still like it's still here. Why not? What? We can't make new super agents?
Pirates of the Caribbean? I feel like that is a hurt brand.
The cultural impact of James Bond is such that, like, yeah, anyone that tries to do a new spy thing it's just immediately going to be compared to James Bond, and people are just going to be like, well, it's just a shittier James Bond. Even if it might be better, people are just predisposed to James Bond.
Metal Gear Solid is based on James Bond, and I don't think anybody thinks that's like an inferior brand.
But it's in a different medium, so it gets a pass.
I think if that had been like a movie, I don't think people would have complained. That first game is basically a movie.
I mean, I feel that Metal Gear also makes it pretty clear. The inspirations Metal Gear takes from James Bond are not enough to make it feel like a ripoff. Like Metal Gear feels like its own thing.
Yeah, because it is its own thing. Because it's like Indiana Jones. He's based on James Bond too. Indiana Jones. Spielberg and Lucas were like, we want to do action serials like we watched, and we also want our protagonist to be like James Bond. Let's make a new thing that combines elements of these things we liked. Oh, what do you know? We have Indiana Jones now. And we keep, and like, somebody base something on him.
But when people think of Indiana Jones, they don't immediately think James Bond.
No, that's what I'm saying, because he's well made and he's his own character, but he's still inspired by James Bond.
Okay, but by that logic, there's plenty of stuff that's inspired by James Bond, but they're not...
Yeah, but why is there still James Bond?
People love James Bond.
Because people like the idea of James Bond. Like, what is James Bond really? It's just... It can be pretty much anything at this point.
He's a super cool spy man that, can rough and tumble, get the job done.
I wonder if copyright was shrunk back to like 20 years or something, where instead of it's your life and then your company owns it for 2 generations or whatever, like I wonder if copyright was shortened, so it's just like, no, you release it and then 20 years later it becomes public domain. I genuinely think we'd get more original stuff. But maybe not. Maybe it would just then be, oh, Activision's going to publish their own Mario games now that Mario's public domain. I don't know. I feel like we've exhausted the topic. And now we're just rambling.
Fuck brands. Fuck sequels.
No, brand equals good. I'm going to... I haven't learned anything in this talk.
All right, I think we're going to cut it there. This has been the Essays and Espresso podcast, stumbling
Yes.
to the end.
None of us has been working on anything. You so-called host.
Oh, I guess we could talk about that.
Yeah.
Acer, what have you been working on?
I'm still working on Bloodborne. I don't want to talk about it. Next. No, I re-recorded the entire game. After I finished the script, I was like, this is what I want. This is what I want to talk about here. I'd rather do this. Re-recorded it. Then I rewrote the old script to fit with the new footage. And I rewrote that to be a bit tighter. And once my flu is over and I can do proper narration, I'm going to record. And then we'll begin the money.
Ho ho. Interesting. All right.
Yes.
Anything else?
Nah. It's not good enough. It's like a 7-hour video, Daniel.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, Boken?
I've been super lazy with my BoJack script,
Ah,
but that is
I'm actually looking forward to that.
I know. I mostly work on my scripts while I'm on my commute, because when I'm at home and I have my PC, I do other shit. And because I've been in home office because of the pandemic, I just haven't really been working on the script that much. So yeah, I also have been rewatching part of Hunter x Hunter, which is going to be my next video.
Oh, cool. I still need to watch that anime.
You should really watch that. That show is so fucking amazing.
Aren't we doing an extravaganza video on that?
What, Hunter x Hunter?
No.
Yeah?
No, we're doing
What?
it on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I've watched like so many No, I'm joking.
Well, I mean, knowing Boken, that might be the next one that he recommends. Who knows?
Well, I'm not allowed to because that's more than 100 episodes, I think.
Yeah, you're not recommending that. You absolute monster.
I wasn't going to. What the fuck?
You were going to.
No.
You would if you could.
I'm still waiting for Daniel to actually watch that.
I will. I
know
have
you're
it all
lost
on Blu-ray.
cause, Acer, but Daniel can appreciate this.
That's true.
Implying I can, but Acer won't.
Of course Acer won't.
I won't. What are you crazy, Daniel? You don't know me at all.
Hey, you might. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched the show yet, so I don't know if you'd appreciate it or not.
Is it anime, Bogan?
Yes.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't like it. Is it like shonen anime?
Yes.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't like it.
Well, you liked Kara no Kyokai. I mean, granted, that's not a shonen at all.
No.
That's not a
not at all.
Anime. I like Full Metal Alchemist. That's like the only shonen anime I like.
Don't you watch One Piece?
I don't like One Piece. That's like Family Guy to me. I just watch it every now and then.
Damn.
I think
a
a
bit
lot of
rude.
people just got visibly upset over the comparison between One Piece and Family Guy.
Yeah, well, they'll tell me in the comments.
Well, anyways, I've been working on that Silent Hill video, like I mentioned. That video was not meant to take this long or be as big as it is, but hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. You go in thinking, oh, this is just going to be a quick video about an idea, and then I'm done. And then you realize, wait a minute, this script has ballooned to like 2 or 3 times what I initially thought. Oh well.
Oh well.
Oops.
Time to rewrite every single word, but now it's longer.
Yep. Let's see. Haven't worked on the Scott Pilgrim script as much as I would like. I might need to reread the comic book just in case. And I think probably today I'm going to record the footage for Lisa the First so that I can do the commentary video on that. And I think And I think after I'm done with that Lisa video, I will put out part 3 of Zisteria. So, yeah, that's me. That's what I got going on.
Nice.
All right. That has been... what?
I was going to say, I think my next extravaganza suggestion will be Austin Powers.
Please don't do that.
What? Hey! What?
I've seen all of those movies way too many times. I don't want to see.
Those movies are incredible. You kidding me?
Dude.
Yeah, but is there really stuff to discuss there?
Yeah, everyone loves Austin Powers.
But what can you discuss about it? They're just
my
really
childhood.
fun movies.
My childhood has consisted of more Austin Powers than I'd care to admit. I don't even know why.
Like if we
Because
discuss
brilliant...
Austin Powers, that's just us we're gonna retell jokes to each other. For 9 minutes.
Behave.
Well, for those that didn't see to the
Don't
end
make
of
you
the
horny,
Karno Kyokai
baby.
one, our next extravaganza is going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender, so you can look forward to that.
It's not the James Cameron one, I heard.
No, it is not. And
it's the Shyamalan one.
Actually, I was going to ask about that. Boken, are we also going to watch the Shyamalan movie?
No.
Sure, why not?
No.
Actually, I think we should, yeah.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
I've never seen it, but that's, as far as I know, that's just the first season of Avatar in a movie.
Is Batman Rasputin? Is Rasputin gonna do that? Oh, hey, I get a phone call. How awkward.
What kind of ringtone is that?
Hi? Bless Caseta.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my god. I should have just ended the podcast when I had the chance.
How?
Yes.
I don't get you people at all. Like,
yeah.
I have my phone on silent and I never answer it. Because why would I fucking answer my phone? And you guys just keep getting... This motherfucker's actually having a phone call while we're about to end this episode. We're 2 minutes from closing this fucking episode, and he picks up the phone. The fuck? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, get on.
I'm keeping all of this in.
I'm done.
This is all staying in.
I'm out.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
This is all staying in.
I'm sorry. I had to answer.
Did you really?
Of course! I had to answer.
No! No one has to answer their fucking phone.
My boss was calling me.
Why does your boss call you on a Sunday? Did you tell him it's
my dad.
Christian?
What?
Okay.
What?
Yeah, I work for my dad. So he called me and he was like, hey, are you still sick? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, so you're not going to show up tomorrow? And I was like, probably not. I also have a test tomorrow at school. He was like, oh, well, okay, dick. I was like, oh, Dad, you're the dick. I also had, my little sister had a kid. And then my other little sister had a kid.
Who cares? We're 2 minutes from closing out this fucking recording. Fucking hell.
Yes.
This has been the Essays and Espresso podcast, shambling our way to the finish line as always. This has been...
This was way more structured than you guys give it credit for.
This has been Acer and Boken along with myself, Daniel. We'll see you all again next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.